Hello, and welcome back to 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your producer, Jeremiah Long, and joining me to talk about the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets versus the Notre Dame Fighting Irish is our host, Mr. Logan Landers. How's it going, man?
Hey, what's up, Jeremiah? Great Monday show so far. In and out here with Georgia Tech, the hometown team. Hoping the Yellow Jackets pull off the big upset against Notre Dame, one of the best teams in the country. We'll see what can happen, man. Maybe the Yellow Jackets got a big win in them. I can't wait to talk about it, though.
Yeah, absolutely. And for everybody watching, thank you so much for all your shares, for talking about us word of mouth to your friends and family, especially over those dinners with your coworkers and all, of the times that you're finally getting out and about and getting to see everybody again, in all these tailgates and sports bars and just getting to talk and, amongst your friends and family. Whereas, in the last, 18 months or so, that's been very difficult. So thank you so much for all those shares. And if you're listening to our podcast right now, thank you so much. Our podcast listeners are growing every day by an exponential number. And we've actually been not sad surprised, but happy surprised by the incredible amount of people that have been jumping in with our podcast. So the last few years that we've been running the show and the last year that we've been doing our podcast, it's just been incredible. So we just want to say thank you from the bottom of our heart from our entire team. Well, without further ado, Mr. Landers, Georgia Tech versus Notre Dame. What do we have to look forward to this week?
Well, let's talk about the underdogs here with Georgia Tech. I'm not going to sugarcoat. They've not had a good season. They have just not looked good. It is what it is. 3-7 on the year, and they've got two mountains to climb. The first one with Notre Dame, and we all know, they're a really good team right now, top 10 team in the country. And next, next week on November the 27th, they face the number one ranked Georgia Bulldogs in the best rivalry here in Georgia. If you're a Georgia Tech fan, that's the big one you got circled. And if you're Georgia, you're hoping to just get a clean win. But, oh, man, if you're Georgia Tech, you just got to buckle in and hope this ride's almost over for this season. But let's talk about how they've done, though. Like I said, they got 3 wins, so not the most amazing season so far. But last week against Boston College, they put up a good bit of points, but they weren't able to pull it out in the end. They lost 41-30. Jordan Yates, 17-28 on the day, 126 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, nothing too crazy. Jahmyr Gibbs, the running back, had a good day, 19 carries for 96 yards, touchdown for him. Yates also ran the ball in for a touchdown and 47 yards for the young man. The receiving corps, nothing too much to write home about. No one really stood out in that regard. Gibbs did have 5 catches, though, for 29 yards. That was really the kind of the big spot for them. Malachi Carter had a touchdown on the day. So Georgia Tech, they haven't had the cleanest season, haven't looked the best. But I think that if they want to get this win, the defense, they've struggled this year. The defense has not had a good year. Tariq Carpenter led the way with 6 tackles for the young man. No sacks for them against Boston College. So you got to hope they can get that fine-tuned and working next week, this upcoming week against Notre Dame. They have 3 tackles for losses. You got to get that up also. And if you're Georgia Tech, you just got to hope something's in the water this week, man. Something looks good. Maybe goes to the varsity, get you a couple of chili dogs or something, and you can hopefully just get ready for this game because it's going to be tough. Notre Dame is no slouch. They've looked really good, 9-1 on the year. The only loss being against Cincinnati a couple weeks ago. And since that loss, they've looked dominant. They beat UVA, the University of Virginia, last week, 28-3. Looked dominant as ever. Jack Cohn, 15-20, 132 yards, 3 touchdowns. So he did throw the ball for a whole lot, but when he did, he was very efficient. Williams, the running back, 70 yards on him with 1 touchdown. They ran for 249 yards. Man, they just had anyone and everyone they wanted to running the ball, getting some good yardage, and they looked really good. The receiving corps, Michael Mayer, 1 touchdown, 84 yards on 7 catches. Kevin Austin Jr. with 1 touchdown, and Brandon Lindsay with 1 touchdown also. The defense, you only gave up 3 points. That's pretty good in my books, I would say. Bo Bauer, 9 tackles with a sack and a half. Justin Molia, 5 tackles for 1.5 sacks also. And they got, 7 sacks as a team. Riley Mills with 2, Clarence Lewis with 1, and really just anyone who said, hey, I want to get a sack today, they were able to get one, man. That's a dominant fashion if I've ever seen one. looked really good. 5 passes defended, 8 tackles for losses. I mean, anything and everything Notre Dame was doing, it was working. They got, like I said, 2 interceptions. DJ Brown got one. Raymond Henderson got one. And they looked just as dominant as ever. They only gave up a field goal. So you can't get too much better than that besides a shutout. So Notre Dame's looked really good these past few weeks. And I think against Georgia Tech this week, who have struggled, they haven't won a game in quite a while. Their last win was in early October against Duke. So they're hoping to maybe pull off the upset of the college football season and knock out Notre Dame. I don't know if it's going to happen though, Jeremiah. I don't know. Georgia Tech's had their struggles. They got some good players, of course. Like I mentioned, they got Jordan Yates, Jeff Sims, their main quarterback. He's not there right now. Jameer Gibbs, the running back's kind of a good bright spot for them. Quez Jackson, he's been a good spot. But overall, Georgia Tech's just not been able to get it done. Only 28 points a game. Not the best. You got to be able to put up a few more. Notre Dame, they'll put up 32. So it's not like these are two, rapid fire, put up a bunch of points on you type of games and type of teams. But I think that Notre Dame, man, they just have an advantage. Their defense is too stout. Their offense, it's able to just click a little bit more than Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech can struggle at points. But Notre Dame, if they're having a tough day, offensively, their defense can make up for it. And that's just something that, it's just something that Georgia Tech just can't have right now. Their defense has struggled. And in the last 2 games, Jeremiah, an interesting stat, against Navy and against Virginia, 2 teams that, Notre Dame did get the win against and won big, they've only allowed 9 points. They allowed 6 to Navy and then 3 to Virginia last week. So they're really getting their defense in check against these teams that they should, to be prepared for, the Georgia Techs of the world, to get ready for the end of the season games. They faced Stanford the last week of the year before playoff time and before for bowl games. So they're looking really good. The defense is on point. The offense with Jack Cones looked really good. He's had a really good year for the Fighting Irish, I think, man. Over 2,000 yards passing, 16 touchdowns. And I think Notre Dame, they're going to get the win in this one. Georgia Tech, man, I think they're going to get back on track in the meantime. They've had their ups and downs. It's kind of like the life of a Georgia Tech fan. You have seasons where you think it's going to go great and, fight for that ACC championship. And then you have some years like this. But, I was always told by my dad that, Georgia Tech might not have the best football team in the world, but you got to be pretty smart to get in there. So while these teams might be duking out the gridiron, the graduates from Georgia Tech are going to be leading the world one day. So they got that going for them. And I think overall, Notre Dame's going to get the big win in this one. I'm going to go Notre Dame, go with 45. I think they're going to have a big explosion on offense, kind of show everyone like, hey, we got this firepower here on offense. So I think Notre Dame's going to get 45. And Georgia Tech, man, I hate to do it, but I think Georgia Tech 21. I think they're going to put up a good fight, though. They're going to get a little bit below their average. But I just don't think it's time yet, though. Give it a few seasons. Let's see what Tech can do. But it's Notre Dame's time right now to shine, and they're going to get the big win in this one.
Sorry, I was muted there. Definitely. It's their time to shine. Georgia Tech, we love you. I could walk to Georgia Tech's campus right now from where I'm at. It is an amazing place. I've had some great times around those campuses and watched some great football from them. A couple of years ago, they came out the box on my Tennessee Vols. That was an incredible matchup. It's an incredible game to watch happen. Win, lose, or draw. But I'll tell you this, I think it's going to be the Fighting Irish's time to shine. So everybody watching, tell us, what do you think the final score will be for this game between the Notre Dame Fighting Irish and the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets? We want to hear from you. And if you're listening to us on our podcast, thank you so much. But if you're not listening to the podcast yet, come and join us. 100 Yards of Football, anywhere that you listen to podcasts, including on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Stitcher, everywhere that podcasts are available. You just pull up your podcast format of choice, type in 100 Yards of Football, and we will be there for you day in and day out. We put out new episodes pretty much every day so that you can listen to us on your way to work. You can listen to us at the office or from your home office. You can listen to us on your way back home, or if you're a traveling person who is in the car a lot, we have amazing episodes to keep you company all through the day. So please join us over there and listen to the podcast. And For the entire team here, I am the producer, Jeremiah Long, and you've been listening to our host, Mr. Logan Landers, give an incredible breakdown of Georgia Tech versus Notre Dame. We're going to be back a little later this evening for an incredible Legends interview. Please join us for the next live episode.